Bang. Court is now resumed for the trial of Stefanik Dracogen. Let us review the proceedings from 2 days ago. At first, the facts of the case seemed very straightforward. The victim, Justin Way, put his weight on a poorly maintained guardrail on the refinery grounds. Said guardrail broke, causing Justin Way to fall to his death. However, the defense presented a shocking piece of evidence in the previous proceedings. Traces of transmutation magic were found on that same broken guardrail. This new evidence implies that sabotage, if not outright foul play, played a part in the death of the victim. This evidence is also accompanied by conflicting testimonies from witnesses. All of these elements have thrown quite some doubt on the validity of the prosecution's case. Yes. However, the prosecution maintains that the Dracogen Trading Company is at fault for Justin Way's death. Even though someone may have sabotaged the guardrails? The prosecution acknowledges that sabotage may have occurred at the scene of the accident. However, we also believe that there are several factors in this case that the court is overlooking. As we all know, several witnesses were present at the refinery at the time of the accident. The harbour master was showing a patron around the refinery. Ozawa Katuda was making a food delivery and entered the building. And of course, the victim, Justin Way, was obviously present as well. Each and every one of these people had no business being in the refinery that night. In the case of the harbour master and his patron, it would hardly be reasonable for anyone to stop them. That may be, but Justin Way worked in the freight division and should not have been at the scene. I've already verified this with my client. The victim was not authorized to be in the refinery building. And who stopped Justin Way from entering the area unauthorized? Isn't it the defendant's duty to prevent such individuals from entering the building? My client can't be held responsible for Justin's breach of the set protocols. And he surely can't hold my client responsible for someone sabotaging the guardrail. This so-called sabotage is only theoretical until a proper culprit is found. I might be compelled to agree with you, Miss Steelwind. After all, there's no hard evidence that proves the traces of transmutation were left by a specific spell. What kind of mental gymnastics is that? Every part of the guardrail that had traces on it was rusted. Ugh, they're bending the context of what happened to suit their purposes. Regardless, is it not the responsibility of the Dracogen Trading Company to ensure that its employees do not wander into restricted areas? Blaming a potential saboteur puts the cart before the horse. It doesn't just stop with Justin Way, either. Why was Moroska Tudor able to enter the building? She doesn't even work at the refinery, yet she was able to waltz into the building without any trouble. If that's true, I believe we should hear from Miss Tudor directly. Let's hear how easily she gained access to the refinery on the day of the accident. We've already anticipated that. Moroska Tudor is prepared and ready to testify. Very well, then. Bailiff, please escort Miss Tudor to the stand. Hello again. Miss Tudor, are you aware of why you've been called here today? Yeah, I heard everything from the gallery. Then you'll have no problem answering the following question. Did you encounter resistance when you entered the refinery the night of the accident? Witness, may I remind you that you are under oath to tell the court everything that you know. Failure to do so is a crime. No one tried to stop me. Sorry, Tyrion. You've got nothing to apologise for, witness. The only one at fault is the Dracogen Trading Company and their negligence. Hey, that's... For the record, please testify in detail about how you entered the refinery that day, Miss Tudor. Okay. That day I was looking for Justin in the freight area, but I couldn't find him. I decided to look for him in the refinery's main building. There was some kind of magical door leading into it, but it was unlocked. Nothing really stopped me from entering the refinery building. As the court can clearly see, there were no safeguards preventing the witness from entering that restricted area. The witness clearly stated there was a magical door leading into the building. This was obviously some sort of security door powered by artificery, which was still unlocked and effectively useless. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Well, this is going in an unexpected direction, but okay. I shall press everything. You were there to deliver his dinner to him, am I correct? Yeah, he was usually in the freight area around that time. I was surprised when I didn't see him there. I was a little worried, so... Look for him in the refinery's main building. It seems strange that you'd go looking for him. Why not just leave his food with one of his co-workers? I thought of that, but I also wanted to make sure that he was okay. I was the one who hoped to get this job in the first place. It wouldn't look good if he left in the middle of a shift. How did you enter the refinery building, Miss Tudor? The door. By magical door, do you mean that it was a door powered by artificery? Yeah, I have a door like it in my restaurant too. But this one looked a lot more complex. Why would you or Dracogen need magical doors, anyways? The one in my cafe magically locks the shop when I close it for the day. I guess the door to the refinery building was for the same thing. But that means that there was a mechanism to keep out unauthorized personnel, which was effectively useless. The witness entered the refinery and encountered zero resistance. Furthermore, the Inquisition has already logged the specs for the door. Early entry to the refinery building is a door with an artificery lock. Magical keys can be used to unlock the door for 5 seconds. It automatically closes and engages the lock. It can only be disabled by Stephanic Dracogen. Could be physically prevented from closing, but this would have triggered an alarm. Did you use a key to unlock the door, Miss Tudor? No, I didn't. As you can see from this report, Stephanic Dracogen was the only person capable of disabling the lock. I guess Mr. Dracogen kept the door unlocked during work hours. This means that it's entirely Dracogen's fault that the victim gained access to the building in the first place. But wait, that's not what I meant to... But that is what you implied. Unless you can prove that another person disabled that door. Regardless, please add that last statement to your testimony, witness. Alright. Mr. Dracogen must have disabled the lock. That's quite the leap in logic. The specs of the door state that the lock can only be disabled by Stephanic Dracogen. Sorry, but I can't think of any other reason why it would be disabled. I mean, I get it. Sometimes I forget the key to my shop. It becomes a real headache when I get locked out. Well... Alright, we still have this guy as well. That we never found out anything else about.
Objection!
Anyway, objection. Bastille, wouldn't you claim that my client expressed negligence by disabling the door? This is the reason why the security door was unlocked and why the current witness was able to enter the building. That's correct. Your client's negligence allowed unauthorized persons like Justin Way to gain access to the building. And regardless of any sabotage, Justin Way died because he was in said unauthorized area. And what if I told you that another person may have disabled the door? Not because of laziness, but for more nefarious purposes. What are you talking about? If you recall, the witness entered the refinery building and spotted Justin Way afterward. This means that Justin Way entered the building before her. So that begs the question, how did Justin Way enter the building? The answer is obvious. He entered the same way that the witness did, through the unlocked door. Not quite, Miss Steelwind. Since this trial began, we still haven't answered why Justin Way entered the refinery building in the first place. He entered the refinery building with the intent of robbing my client's personal safe. I already told you, Tyrion. He would never do something like that. I'm sorry, Rika, but there are things about Justin that even you didn't know about. The truth is that he was deeply in debt to a crime lord called the Eye Taker, and he was extremely desperate to wipe that debt as soon as he could. Crime lord? I want to ask how you came across this information, Mr. Cuthbert, but what does this have to do with the disabled magical lock? Miss Steelwind, Justin owned a set of tools that he used for picking mundane and magical locks. The safe that he was planning to rob was located in my client's office within the refinery building. I have witnesses who saw Justin retrieve those tools shortly before the night of the accident. He clearly had a plan to disable any locks that stood between him and that safe. That means that it's entirely possible that Justin disabled the locked refinery door illegally. We're not actually going to bring them in, are we? Yeah, I'm kinda bluffing right now. You basically assaulted one of them. We both assaulted him, Tyrion. Hold on a minute. You can't just accuse him like that and he can't defend himself. I'm sorry, Rika, but his delinquent friends told me about his plan. He didn't want to rob Dracogen, but he needed the gold to wipe away his debt. If Justin wasn't the one that disabled the lock, that would only leave Dracogen. But there has to be an explanation where neither of them is guilty. Alright, Rika. You knew Justin better than I did. Let's assume that you're correct. Neither Justin nor Dracogen disabled the locks that day. How did either of you enter the refinery, then? Well, someone must have disabled it before, then. Wait, let me think through this. Plenty of people could have disabled the locks. Maybe one of the employees got lazy and forcefully broke it. There was also that nobleman who was with Mr. Morrison. He's a mage and could have used magic to do it. It could have also been one of the maintenance constructs. I saw one working on the machines. Maybe one of them broke the lock. I can barely even begin to point out all the issues with your theories, Miss Tudor. If you recall, the entrance lock can only be disabled by Stefanik Dracogen. Even Mr. Cuthbert's theory makes more sense than your list of suspects. The defense would still like to exercise the right to cross-examine the witness. What a waste of time. While the court agrees with Miss Steelwind, we also recognise Mr. Cuthbert's right to cross-examination. However, I will not allow the defense to waste the court's time. If nothing substantial is gained from your cross-examination, I will not hesitate to end it early. Understood, Your Honour. What a testimony this is. Well, this is far too vague to give me anything about anything. Let's go from here. Steelwind, did the Inquisition find any evidence of physical tampering on the entrance lock? Not at all. Furthermore, if an employee had attempted what the witness is describing, it would have set off the refinery's security system. Sorry, Rika. Well? The Harbour Master's companion would have no reason to perform such an act. Your personal bias might be clouding your judgment, Miss Steelwind. This isn't merely an extrapolation based on his character, Mr. Cuthbert. The nobleman in question had the legal authority to enter the building. He wouldn't need to resort to such underhanded tactics. You would probably know that since you two see... You would probably know that since you two seem so close with each other. Is she jealous of our relationship with Asta? Maintenance construct? You know, those magically animated suits of armour. Arcane constructs only perform the actions that they're ordered to do, and a construct at the Arcane Refinery would only take orders from their administrator, Stefanek Drakajin. Unless you want to imply that Stefanek Drakajin ordered the construct to break the lock. May I remind the prosecution that constructs are prone to error and misinterpretation of their orders? Perhaps this construct accidentally broke the lock while carrying out its usual orders. Or maybe this entire conversation is a waste of time because I've figured out what the problem is and it ain't this. The Inquisition found no evidence of physical tampering on the lock. And even if they had, the security system would have been alerted the moment this happened. Well, I guess you have a lot of contradicting statements to work with this time. Yeah. I need to find a contradiction that's not so readily apparent. One that's not apparent? Is another contradiction in her testimony? I'm not sure, but I can't help but feel like she said something that I know, I've got it.
Objection!
Rika, you said that you saw a maintenance construct inside the refinery building. Are you sure that it was an arcane construct? Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on them in the Von Sanctus catalogues. But they're not available to the public yet. When you saw this arcane construct, what was it doing? I'm not exactly sure. But it looked like it was doing maintenance on the machines. Where are you going with this, Mr. Cuthbert? As I've said before, an arcane construct owned by the defendant wouldn't have disabled the lock. I agree, a construct owned by my client wouldn't have done that. But arcane constructs are extremely rare and not available to the general public yet. Furthermore, they're only produced and sold by Von Sanctus Industries. Lloyd Von Sanctus personally sold several products to the Drakajin Trading Company. However, when offered the opportunity to purchase his arcane constructs, my client turned him down. Gadzooks, good sir. My client disliked the construct's flawed intelligence. He didn't want them working in the refinery. He turned down Lord Von Sanctus's offer in favour of utilising human labour. Wait, then why did I see a construct there? Exactly. If my client did not own any constructs, why did the witness see one there? Or to phrase this question differently, who sent that construct there? Who? Why would anyone send an arcane construct into the refinery? First, let's consider the rarity of arcane constructs. They're highly experimental and not available to the public yet. With all of these elements in mind, only one person in the city of Oranax could have done this. Wait. You can't possibly mean... I do, Miss Steelwind. Few individuals had access to an arcane construct. And even fewer had the ability to disable the locked door without alerting the security system. Would you like to come up to the stand, please? Only one individual could have done everything that I described. Lloyd Von Sanctus, the noble lord of Oranax. You can't be serious. Are you accusing Lord Von Sanctus of illegally sending a construct into the Arcane Refinery? What possible reason would he have to do that? Rika, when you saw that construct in the refinery, was it carrying anything? Yeah, actually. It was carrying a large cylindrical machine, and it looked pretty heavy. Like it would normally need to be held by 2 people? Yeah, how did you know? Mr. Cuthbert, where are you going with this? You see, Your Honor, the tool that the witness saw this construct carrying wasn't just any tool. It was a Rod of Mending, an artificery tool that channels transmutation magic. Transmutation magic? As in, magic that could be used to weaken and sabotage parts of the refinery? No, are you seriously accusing? Your Honor, Lord Von Sanctus sent a construct into the Arcane refinery to sabotage it. In other words, Lloyd Von Sanctus is responsible for that guardrail breaking. I think that's enough out of you, you upstart commoner. Hello. The judge really needs to stop these guys from just barging onto the stand. No, let them carry on. Yeah. If they want to go up there and, make statements that I can contradict, let them do it. I've had enough of these blatant accusations. If you want to sling mud at my name, you will do it to me directly. Lord Von Sanctus, I would highly advise against doing this. Please, do you think I'm like that fool Pierce? The defense's theory is laughable, and I have several pieces of evidence that can easily prove my innocence. Very well. If the defense wishes to accuse you, I see no harm in allowing you to defend yourself. This court would very much like to hear your testimony on the matter. It is possible to order a construct to complete a complex list of tasks, but doing so is ill-advised. I'm sure you observed this with the Nightgrave trial. Constructs are extremely prone to error when completing a long set of tasks. According to the defense, the saboteur stole a Rod of Mending and used it to sabotage very specific sections of the refinery. I would never trust a construct to discreetly complete such an intricate set of tasks unsupervised. And before you ask, I was miles away from the refinery at the time of the accident. I have several associates that can confirm this alibi. Therefore, I had no way of observing this construct from afar, nor did I have any way to communicate with it. That last statement he made is very interesting. Well, I doubt this is going to achieve anything, but let's press on the alibi bit. And I suppose you wouldn't mind having these associates testify before the court? Lord Von Sanctus was discussing the blockade being put around the city. Steelwind? I won't go into detail about what they discussed, but the King's Guard, City Watch, Arcane Inquisition, and myself were present. We can all confirm that he was present at the meeting. Though his behaviour was quite erratic that day. Ugh, how could I not? You people have no care for personal hygiene. It took my retainers hours to disinfect the area. Can we please stay on subject? Right, anyways. What if the construct wasn't actually active? You could have had one of your servants don the construct as a disguise. It's extremely dangerous to wear the construct like a suit of armour. It almost always ends in severe injury and death in the worst case. Furthermore, the supposed construct would have needed to carry and use a Rod of Mending. I have many capable servants, but none of them have superhuman strength. This argument makes a lot of sense, actually. You wouldn't trust a construct to sabotage the refinery alone, especially if there were a big risk of getting caught. But regardless of what he says, Rika did see a construct there that day. Yes, well. This is a kind of shot in the dark, evidence-wise, but it's something that could have happened, so...
Objection!
Von Sanctus, you testify that there was no way for you to observe and communicate with the construct. Am I correct? Yes, I was at that meeting with Steelwind for that entire day. Anyone there could testify to that fact. I'm not disputing your so-called alibi, but it's not as airtight as you might think. What are you talking about? I was there at that meeting, Mr. Cuthbert. Lord Von Sanctus may have been absent in mind, but he was there physically. I suppose you're correct, Miss Steelwind, but I still have one question for you, Lord Von Sanctus. Puh, and what would that be? Are you able to cast the Send a Message spell? I need to come up with a list of puns for whenever anybody says what. Not the electric kind of what, that kind of what. There we go. There's one of them. Miss Steelwind, your client may have been physically at the meeting, but his attention was somewhere else, wasn't it? He could have used a combination of spells to view the construct during the meeting. And he could have used the Send a Message spell to communicate with it over a large distance. If my claim is truly false, your client should have no trouble disproving it with his spell compendium. Well... Von Sanctus... You appear to be hesitating, Von Sanctus. Can I assume that you do know how to cast Send a Message? If so, that would punch a gigantic hole in your alibi. Steelwind, you were there, weren't you? My attention was fully there. The idea that I was communicating with a construct is absurd. I'm afraid that I can't say that, Lord Von Sanctus. Steelwind. I did find it odd. Your attention appeared to be elsewhere, despite the gravity of our discussion. And I seem to recall you speaking under your breath the entire time. I had always just assumed that you were muttering obscenities. But Mr. Cuthbert's explanation does seem plausible. What are you saying? Aren't you obligated to defend me? I am obligated to represent you to the best of my ability. I am not obligated to forge your alibi for you. You little... Lord Von Sanctus, I'm afraid the court needs an answer. Are you able to cast the Send a Message spell? Fine, I admit it, okay. I am able to cast Send a Message. But that still doesn't prove anything. When I looked to see what it was, I saw that Justin had tumbled over the guardrail off the walkway. Then, please enlighten us, Mr. Cuthbert. How could both of their testimonies possibly be true? Well, I think there's only one possible explanation. Both Miss Tudor and Mr. Morrison saw someone fall off the walkway. But the person that Miss Tudor saw and the person that Mr. Morrison saw were two different people. Why did you hesitate so long to answer my question, Von Sanctus? You know very well why I hesitated. Why would I willingly give you evidence? You clearly intend to use it against me. Regardless, this entirely disproves your alibi. You could have communicated with your construct at the meeting. By that logic, I could be the mastermind behind every crime that occurs in Oranax. I may have had the means to commit this crime, but there are plenty of other individuals that could have sent an arcane construct. Von Sanctus, you of all people should know that the arcane constructs are not available to the public. When you attempted to sell these constructs to Dracogen, you promised him that he would be the first merchant in Oranax that would own one. Since you refused your offer, that would leave you as the only owner of arcane constructs in Oranax. That's... Well, I admit that I may not have been that truthful when I made my sales pitch. So you're saying that you lied to my client? Oh, please. Every good businessman knows how to embellish the truth when making a sale. The truth is that I've sold those constructs to plenty of other individuals in Oranax. Frankly, Von Sanctus, I find that hard to believe. After the Nightgrave trial, you must have been a lot more fearful about who you sold your constructs to. You only tried to sell your constructs to Dracogen so you could control him. You wouldn't have done that otherwise. Is that so? Then why don't you prove it? No, Von Sanctus, why don't you prove your statement? Show us any invoice that proves you made a sale to someone in Oranax. Well, who says that the saboteur lived in Oranax when I made the sale? Are you serious? Oranax is a trading hub. Plenty of people come and go from the city. Any one of my customers could have secretly entered the city to carry out the sabotage. Really, dude? Von Sanctus, you might have been right under any other circumstance. But the Kingsguard locked down the city on the day that the accident occurred. No one except for a select few individuals could have left or entered the city. And due to the gravity of the situation, the Kingsguard created profiles of everyone within the city. Why don't we cross-reference the records taken by the Kingsguard with a list of individuals who you've sold constructs to? But I suppose from your reaction, that list would come up empty. So why don't you admit to your crimes, Von Sanctus? Or do I have to drag the evidence into court myself? Wait, drag the evidence into court? What? Yeah, I think the evidence is destroyed. Why don't you go ahead and do that, Mr. Cuthbert? Bring in your so-called evidence. I don't know where this confidence is coming from, but we can easily detect the traces of divination and transmutation on the constructs you own. Assuming that construct still exists, that is. No, I think it corroded, rather. You still have the testimony of Miss Sawaka Tudor, and I'm sure many other people saw that construct walking around the refinery. The common folk can hardly be trusted to recognise complex artificery. Without the actual construct, all you have are several unreliable witnesses. Tell me, Lady Stillwind, can I be convicted of such a serious charge with such evidence? No, I suppose not. Your undignified glaring will do you no favours. The Eye of Horus is a powerful tool, Tyrion, but that's twice now that you've used the Empowered Eye to get out of a corner. If you keep relying on that one trick, you'll never grow as an attorney. One day you'll find a witness that the empowered eye won't work on. From your silence, I assume that you have no way to rebut my claim. I suppose that makes it checkmate, you upstart commoner. Honestly, I can't believe that you've resorted to accusing me of manslaughter. What a crass and underhanded tactic. But I suppose I wouldn't expect anything less from a charlatan like you. Damn it. What the hell are you doing? But what? That look on your face, are you seriously giving up? I've seen you get out of plenty of situations like this. So, why are you giving up this time? I'm sorry, Celeste, but I can't use my usual strategies. There's no way to find the evidence that we need. Seriously? There's always a way, Tyrion. If your usual strategies aren't working, then you just need to do something different. Well, it seems that you have no further questions for me. And you clearly don't have a shred of physical evidence to support your claims. I think I'll be taking my leave. I'm not quite done with you yet, Von Sanctus. Honestly, your desperation is almost pitiful. You should really learn to lose with dignity, Mr. Cuthbert. Let's explore my theory a little more and see for ourselves if there's no physical evidence. If you wanted to use a construct, you would have needed to maintain constant communication. So to prove that this communication occurred, we would need something that connects you to it. Send a message can normally only target a person, but arcane constructs probably don't count as people for the purposes of that spell. What piece of evidence would that leave behind? That, or that? Let's go with that. An arcane construct isn't a person, so you must have used an object attuned to your magic to communicate with it. Miss Steelwind, if we were able to find that object, would that tie your client to the sabotage? Hypothetically, yes. The Inquisition has divination magic, and they can use it to detect if an object is attuned to a specific mage. Good luck finding such evidence. If I did perform these acts, the remains could be anywhere in Oranax. I'm not so sure about that, Von Sanctus. Let's look at things from your perspective. Why would you do the things that you did that day? Knowing that will point us to where you ultimately hid the construct. Your intention was to sabotage the refinery, without anyone finding out what you did. So how would you dispose of the construct and the attuned item? Yeah, I got it. Use the vat of volatile liquid. But wouldn't that mean that the object is fully dissolved? Exactly, there would be no physical evidence for you to find. That's not necessarily true. You threw the rod of mending into the vat, and that didn't fully dissolve. What? The workers neutralized the liquid immediately after Justin fell into the vat. What? Neutralizing that liquid would have rendered it unsalvageable and useless. Doing that would have cost Dracogen a small fortune. Unlike you, Von Sanctus, my client values the lives of his workers over his profits. And because of that, the Inquisition was able to find pieces of bone matter and metal within the vat. You wouldn't have thrown the rod into the vat until after you were done with your sabotage. But if you wanted to destroy the rod, you would have destroyed all of the evidence that you needed to get rid of. You would have also destroyed the arcane construct itself. That's ridiculous. Lady Steelwind, why aren't you... I told you before, didn't I? I will defend you to the best of my ability, but I will not fabricate an alibi for you. You must have ordered the construct to throw itself into the vat to hide any traces of your sabotage. That's it! The Arcane construct was the second person that Astor and Morrison fall into the vat. That's why we didn't find organic matter from anyone other than Justin in there. Yeah, I figured this bit out a while ago. The second body that Astor and Morrison saw was actually an Arcane construct. But how are you... Wait, Rika was sure that she saw Justin fall off the walkway. After she notified Astor and Morrison, they saw the construct break the guardrail and fall into the vat. Wouldn't that mean that the construct disposed of itself after Justin Way fell off the walkway? Why would you order it to do that? But because it never happened! Your logic is flawed. It's because you wanted it to look like an accident. Which means that it wasn't actually an accident. Oh, now you're accusing me of intentionally murdering the victim. Why would I ever do that? You said it yourself, my goal was sabotage. Committing murder would have brought unnecessary attention to what I had done. But those constructs do have a habit of shoving people that are in their way. What if the construct pushed Justin out the way, causing him to fall over the edge of the guardrail? Hey, I didn't see you there. I was just walk past him. Acknowledged. What? Hey, watch it! Quit shoving me! Wait! Whoa! Holy crap, pull me up! I can't hold on for much longer! You idiot! What are you doing? What? Grab his arm and pull him up! Acknowledged. Oh, my hand! What the hell are you doing? Your grip is too tight. Stop that. Acknowledged. But wait, I can still... It may have been unintentional, but either way, you would have been at fault for Justin's death, not my client. And if the construct fell in after Justin, your attuned object must be somewhere in the neutralized liquid. No, it's even better than that. Constructs are made from a specific magical alloy, aren't they? I'm sure with a few divination spells we can identify the metal shards from the construct and your arcane focus. Each and every one of those pieces of evidence points directly at you, Von Sanctus. You petulant little upstart. And that's checkmate, Von Sanctus. Why don't you save us all a little time, Von Sanctus? Admit to what you did. And while you're at it, drop your false allegations against my client. I have nothing to admit to, nor do I have anything to apologise for. Of course not. You're completely blameless, right? Do you think you've achieved victory here today? No, dissidents like you and Dracogen are absolutely deluded. Each and every breath you take only throws Wyvern Guard further into chaos. You talk about these commoners as if they have even a fraction of the power that you have. Lady Steelwind, you need to see reason. They lack awareness of the power they truly have. What? These people have infected you and His Majesty with these idyllic delusions. I implore both of you to see reality for what it is. No, Von Sanctus. The true reality is that people like you become threatened when we challenge your power. You'll speak out the rights of the individual. You speak as if each and every single one of you wouldn't stab each other in the back the moment that it benefited yourselves. You may hate the nobility. You may curse, scream, and blame us for all of your little problems. But the truth is that you need us. You need us to direct and lead you. You need us to maintain the fragile order that holds your peaceful little lives together. You talk about protecting the common folk from themselves. But the truth is that your actions led to the death of an innocent man. I mean innocent. He was planning on stealing from his employer. That is the only truth that matters. The defense has no further questions for the witness. He is dismissed. But very well. We did it again, Tyrion. And we even caught another murderer in the process. Yeah, we couldn't get the case officially dismissed today, but it's pretty much inevitable with the evidence that we brought in. Actually, it probably won't even reach that point. I've advised Lord Von Sanctus to drop the suit entirely. Word has already spread regarding the evidence that you brought forward. At this point, prolonging the trial would just harm his public image even more. That's great! Now you can build a case against him for Justin's death. About that, I'll probably be forced to recluse myself from any charges brought against him. What? Why? It's because you represented him in the suit, isn't it? It would be considered a conflict of interest to prosecute him yourself. Even though you're probably the only prosecutor that would convict him successfully. You're correct. As the head of one of the Pillar families, he has the justice system dancing in the palm of his hand. He will definitely be quietly and swiftly acquitted. I would have never agreed to represent him had I known about this. I'm truly sorry. Damn it. Must have had this planned all along. No, is he seriously going to get away with this? I wouldn't be so sure about that. Dracogin. He may be acquitted in the legal sense, but the court of public opinion is a different thing entirely. What do you mean? He brought forward a myriad of evidence against him. I'm sure everyone in the gallery saw it too. Von Sanctus's power relies on his public image, and he quite handily tore down that facade. He may walk free, but his power and ideals have taken a great blow. But is that seriously all we can do? His actions and recklessness resulted in the death of Justin Way. He should be punished with the letter of the law. You're not wrong, Mr. Cuthbert. But sometimes we must take the victories that we can get. But there's still one thing that's nagging at me. Oh? And what's that? Why was your safe unlocked if nothing was stolen? If Justin had gotten into your safe, he would have taken your gold with him. He wouldn't still be there. Considering that nothing is missing, I'd rather leave it at that. Really? Justin was a good man. I'd rather not taint anyone's memory of him. Especially Mazawaka's. Nothing was taken, so no harm was done in that regard. I suppose so. But I can't help but wonder what actually happened. We have some loose threads that'll probably be dealt with later. Like the Eye Taker, who never really came up in full. Speaking of which, it just makes no damn sense to me. The kid successfully robbed the guy days ago. No one saw him. No one even suspected him. But then he breaks into the place again? Also, he could put back the stolen gold. Does this make any sense to you, Eris? Perhaps he felt remorse for his actions, Father. Not everyone could betray the people they love so easily. And if that's true, I feel like there's a sense of tragic beauty to it all. If he had never tried to do the right thing, he would never have encountered the construct in the first place. He would have paid his debt, and he would still have his life. It's true what they say. No good deed goes unpunished. It's a shame about the gold, though. I think we've more than made a profit today. I, for one, am happy to have claimed a boatload of tithes today.